So the NWA World Title Program for Destination X is Christian Cage versus the alpha male, Monty Brown. First Impact of the month, Christian opens the show, the new NWA World Champion. He comes out, he does his big celebratory promo, says he's been waiting 12 long years to do this, and raises the title in the air to rapturous applause.
Everyone's just really happy that Jeff Jarrett isn't the champion.
They're delighted to have somebody else hold that belt. He dedicates his win to all the guys who have been held back.
He's like shitty, like, who I was held back promo that every TNA guy needs to do.
Yeah, I was going to say he's the first person to do it, but he's not. D'Lo was. So he's doing the D'Lo Brown tribute promo. Says the fans know what they want and you can't fool the fans. The it he's been missing for his career has not been charisma or wrestling ability. It's just been an opportunity. Christian mentions that Monty is the new #1 contender because that's how he rolls. As I said, it's kind of like, it's not a great promo. Like, I don't know. Like, it's not as much a cliche in 2006 as it is now, I guess. So it's not that bad now when he's doing it. But watching it now, it is like, dude, you just won the world title. Can you not make it about WWE being mean to you?
Yeah, I was watching the Mr. Anderson one the other day.
Oh, yeah?
Where his whole promo after winning the world title is, WWE wouldn't put the world title on me. Because I'm too real.
Oh, dear.
Trying to find out Bangkok tweet.
So the closing segment of this show is baffling. JB is with Monty Brown.
Yes.
They're walking down a hallway, and Monty's like, I'm going to confront Christian right now. And he goes into Christian's locker room, and the show goes off the air, and this just goes nowhere.
Yeah, and then the next week they're just like, you weren't in there.
It's such a funny thing to, like, big cliffhanger. Monty Brown goes into Christian's locker room. First segment of next week's Impact. Turns out Christian wasn't in the locker room.
My favorite thing about that too is like, these were filmed on like the same day.
Yeah.
Like, they filmed that and then just didn't do anything with it.
Because yeah, opening segment of the next Impact is Monty Brown squashing Dylan Knight. Not the best Monty squash in the world.
It's fine. Dylan Knight, I was like, who is this man in Mike Quackenbush cosplay?
Maybe it was Mike Quackenbush.
That's his TNA name, Dylan
Yeah.
Knight.
Monty won with a pounce. Monty addresses Christian after the match. He said last week he was looking for Christian, but believed he was in the wrong locker room because Liam, he was in the men's locker room. Maybe he should be looking for the women's locker room. He goes through then the various ways Christian is like a woman. He puts his hands on his hips and blows kisses to other men.
In his entrance, because he does like the
He calls Christian's style of wrestling touch as touch can.
It's a good wordplay.
The name of your finisher is the Unprettier, which is womanly.
Yeah. Women are always about getting unprettied.
Famously. It might be the worst promo of Monty's career.
Monty, good promo guy, not a good night.
No.
And then Christian fucking owns him.
So Christian comes out and he's like, you're always talking about the Serengeti. You're always like, oh, Serengeti this, Serengeti that. So let me teach you some geography, Monty Brown. What's the capital of Thailand?
And then I like shout out to my one man in the crowd who was like, Bangkok!
He knew immediately. Monty's like, I don't know, Christian. Indulge me with your geography. Then he says, Bangkok, and ball taps him. And then they brawl. And maybe save the entire segment.
Shoutouts to Kenny Omega doing this promo like 20 years later.
Yeah, a tribute to the pinnacle of Monty Brown's career, getting ball tapped by Christian Cage with the hottest 2006 schoolyard joke.
Okay, so we got a response to this on Twitter.
Did we?
From a porn bot.
Oh, okay.
And it really makes me laugh because it's one of those ones that was like, that takes the context of your tweet into it, but then like the AI is so broken that like it doesn't make any sense. And this is the response. Oh, I'm sorry. I must have missed that day in geography class. Last time I checked, it's Bangkok, not Thailand. Winky face. Hashtag friendly disagreement. Hashtag oops.
I saw that tweet, but didn't realize it was a porn bot, and I was actually baffled by it.
Yeah, I could not understand what was being said.
Because I was looking at it, and I was just like, there's a sentence there, and like sentence structure, and it is in response. But then you're like, but it just doesn't make sense. It is like the perfect encapsulation of AI, or the AI as we know it now, in that like it is so close to being like comprehensible, but then it falls at the final hurdle in a way that is completely baffling and makes it utterly useless.
I read it like 10 times. trying to comprehend what the fuck was trying to be said.
So next episode of Impact, JB has Christian Cage. James Mitchell and Abyss come in and say Christian leapfrogged the line and from Abyss and got a title shot. Mitchell wants a title shot or he'll unleash Doomsday on Christian.
Click.
Monty Brown then attacked Christian from behind. They brawled into the arena and then Monty pounced Christian off the ramp into the guardrail on the floor below, which is a cool spot.
Yeah, it's a good bump, and I like that it, like, for such a big spot, it still works the body part.
Yeah, it sets up the story of the pay-per-view that Christian then has injured ribs because he ate shit on that guardrail in the way that did actually look like it injured his ribs. So good bump by Christian. He didn't like, a lot of people would take that bump a lot safer.
And then they would NXT face it.
Yeah, whereas Christian took that bump rib first onto the rail exactly as he should because the story is that he will be selling his ribs going into the world title match. And it's a good bump.
Shoutouts to our Twitter just auto-tweeting episode 21, which has the best and most underrated name for any of our podcasts.
Which was it?
Dawn with the Wind.
Oh, Dawn with the Wind. What was the poster for that episode?
It's the Terry Funk poster.
Those are scheduled. That's not an auto tweet. But yeah, I was like, we should post our posters more. They should get like a second posting. So it's like I schedule them all to post every day.
Very.
Just to give more eyeballs on those posters.
People should buy them. I think they can't even buy them.
People should do a thing we don't provide.
Yeah, people should tell us that they would buy them so we know how many to sell.
So go home show, JB has Larry Zbyszko. Christian and Monty can't be in the same building ahead of Destination X, so they will be live via satellite tonight. Hebner will also be the referee for the main event. Then D'Amore came in and started shouting at them, and he was like, "Hey Larry, something's going on here." And JB was like, "What's he talking about?" And Larry's like, "I don't know what he's talking about."
I was like, I never know what he's fucking talking about.
They are building toward an angle where Larry Zbyszko is going to lose his hair. Dave guesses that it will be to Raven since he's scheduled to return soon and they were feuding with when Raven left.
Also, Raven lost his hair.
Yes, violently and gruesomely. The story behind this is Zbyszko is getting hair restoration surgery soon, so he's getting his head shaved before surgery. With a true worker as well, though, that it's like, let's incorporate it into story if I'm going to shave my head. They want to do something with it in a comedy vein since Zbyszko will have a fuller head of hair shortly after it being shaved than he had before.
That's right.
So they do the sit-down interview with Christian and Monty. It's your basic pay-per-view build. There's nothing special to it. The story is like, Dawn is like, the rumor going on around the locker room is you've hurt your ribs, and Christian is like, hell yeah, I've hurt my ribs, but I'm not going to give up that easy.
Yeah, everything else was like kind of cool. This was a filler week.
Yeah, we were talking at the start of the show about how this was a really good TV month, but the Go Home show was very much just like, we have a pay-per-view Sunday, we don't really have much else going on.
We used all of our ideas, fuck.
We ran through all of that in the first 3 weeks, so we just have the sit down. It's a nice little sit down. Monty and Christian, they're talking, they're facing, but not much else going on. Both men have interviews on the pay-per-view, pretty standard stuff. Monty does his I'm gonna win the belt promo. He's about to hit his catchphrase when Larry Zbyszko walks in, and he's just like, there's gonna be a level playing field. Earl Hebner's referee tonight. Shake my hand. Monty slaps his hand away, says he doesn't care, and then hits his catchphrase. And then Christian does this pretty standard I'm a world champion promo, where he does like the Rock pause as well, because the crowd are chanting Christian, so he stops JB and does like the stand there and let the crowd chant Christian a little bit. It's like, oh, look at him go. He's the Rock.
I do think you should only be allowed to do the Rock pause if you've wrestled the Rock.
And Christian has wrestled the Rock, so...
Actually, you should only be allowed to do it if you've beaten the Rock.
Has Christian beaten the Rock? I think Edge and Christian might have beaten the Rock in some tags, but I'm not sure if they...
Yeah, I will accept a tag win. I want you to put your money down. Do you think Christian Cage has ever beaten The Rock?
I think Edge and Christian have a tag team victory over The Rock. I'm not sure who pinned who, but I think they have beaten The Rock in a tag team match.
Alright, we're gonna find out right now. Oh my god. Cage match kept in the whole enter-text thing. That was weird. Alright. No, not the Rock and Raven faction.
That's the best tag team.
Alright. They have wrestled 17 times. Can Shamrock, the Big Boss Man, and The Rock defeat Christian, Edge, and Gangrel? WWF World Heavyweight Title #1 contendership match. 2-on-1 handicap match. The Rock defeats Christian, Edge.
Damn.
6-man tag. The Rock defeats Christian, Edge, and Chris Benoit.
Come on.
Christian, Chris Benoit, and Edge defeat the APA and The Rock.
There we go. Well done, Christian. You could do the Rock pause.
Christian and Edge defeat The Rock, the Undertaker.
Yeah. That's a good win.
I want to see. Have they ever had a... He did! Christian lost in 5 minutes.
It's probably a good match.
5 minutes in Canada for the WCW title.
Of course.
That's a weird match to look at on paper. Both men wrestling in 2024.
That's wild, isn't it?
That was their only singles match. Was that
They should have another.
match?
The Rock should go to
Yeah, run it
AEW and they should
back.
have another.
Run it back on Forbidden Door.
The Forbiddenest Door.
Oh, Christian Cage can cut some hella your family's dead promos about The Rock.
Okay.
What? That's his whole thing.
You were very excited about the idea, though.
Oh, we're gonna act like no, the crowd doesn't pop huge every time Christian says someone's family's dead?
It's just the degeneracy of American culture, actually.
Yeah, but it's bad when Candace does it.
Christian talks about his injured ribs, talks about how he gets his ass kicked all the time, mentions how he's gotten his ass kicked twice today already. I'm like, what's going on with your day, Christian?
Who did you get your ass kicked? Was it The Rock?
The Rock showed up to kick his ass. It's like, you better not do the Rock pause tonight. That's my thing.
Yeah, I saw you last week, motherfucker.
Says, this isn't the Serengeti, this is the peep zone, you silly bitch.
One of his catchphrases should just be, you silly bitch.
He did do you silly bastard a few weeks ago to Jeff Jarrett, so he's not gendered, he's not specific to a gendered insult. He's willing to change up the gendered insult.
Gender fluid insults from Christian Cage. He may be the patriarchy, but he's not the patriarch.
Christian says Monty's record of NWA World title matches will end the same way as his record in Super Bowl games. Winless.
That was really funny. Sorry, just to go back to like the Go Home show for a minute, where Christian was like, "You are a good athlete," and then he's like, and then Monty starts to correct him. He's like, "No, you are a good athlete. I'm sorry." Like he did that twice, where he's like, he went too far in one direction. He's like, "No, I'm burying the guy. I have to reel it back in a little."
Yeah, and Monty was like, "No, I am a good athlete." He was like, "No, I will take that back. You are a good athlete." It was very funny.
Like he even like admitted to being wrong. He's like, "Yes, you're right."
Babyface immediately backed down.
You silly bitch.
So this world title match, Monty and Christian, it's fine.
It's not bad. It's not good either.
Because they have the basic structure of it, which is Christian's ribs are hurt. So Monty is working over the taped ribs for the entire match, doing a bunch of power moves on the taped ribs, as Christian works from underneath for most of it. And that's fine. It's a decent, solid structure. If you're going to do that, the match is too long for it.
And not exciting.
Yeah, I think this is like 18 minutes or something like that. It is really long. And like, if you're going to do just a standard he's working over the ribs match, you got to cut that thing down to like 13. But yeah, like the matches, Monty does power moves on the ribs, and then Christian just kind of comes back and wins with the Unprettier. That's basically it. There's not much more to say about it. It's fine. It's mechanically decent. It's not very exciting. There is a note from the Torch. Monty Brown may be held back within TNA because his in-ring skills are not progressing at the pace everyone would like. The problem for Brown is that he has a successful personal training business in which he works 5 days a week, earning well into 6 figures annually.
Stop wrestling! What are you doing?
He wants to be a star.
God damn.
To be fair, he actually does. That was like the thing, that like he grew up a wrestling fan, not a football fan. So like he's using his football success to try and become a wrestling success.
Yeah, fair play. He's gonna get signed to WWE in like 3 months.
There are some within TNA who feel Brown should be working harder to get weekend bookings that don't interfere with his other job, not because he needs the money, but because he needs the experience. Even working 8 times a month might not be enough for him to get to the point where he needs to be as a top level worker, but it's better than 3 times per month he's currently working some of those shorter squash matches in which he is protected.
Well, hey TNA management, you want to take fucking cuts of people's indie dates, why don't you organize them?
I had not a realization, because I think I had this realization like a year ago, but it was reinforced this month for me that Monty Brown is like the world's most natural babyface.
Yeah.
As this big guy who does entertaining promos and has this insane, cool, explosive moveset that you're like, everything about him screams, I should be a babyface. Like, Bill Goldberg as a heel would have been weird as shit. Like, and Monty is probably the closest comparison you can make. It's like big, explosive, dynamic, charismatic. It's like, he should be a babyface. Like, his best time in this company was like the 3 or 4 months where he was a babyface, leading into the Jarrett match, and he had that awesome squash against Team Canada. Like, his squash matches are babyface matches. Like, it's crazy. And he spent nearly the entirety of his entire career as a heel, and it just makes me think about how if they had actually correctly pegged this dude as a babyface star that he should be, we might be much better off.
Somehow I feel like they never would have committed still.
Well, he always would have been stuck behind Jarrett. That's the problem. That, like, no matter what, Jarrett's ego is too big to get out of the way for Monty Brown. Like, that's the problem ultimately in TNA. Like, Jarrett would not let Monty in front of him because he was probably threatened by Monty, frankly. But I don't know. Like, he just should have been a babyface. He's super cool. He's just too cool to be a heel.
Honestly, the real thing is they should have had like another hour.
Yeah.
Another year. Sorry.
Yeah, and like, when you look at the structure of this match, if you do have worries about Monty's experience levels, like, if he's working as a babyface, he doesn't need the responsibility of carrying a match like this. He can work from underneath, he can sell. Like, his best matches were as a babyface because of that. That, like, you could play into his strengths more because he could just sell and then come back with his big explosive power stuff, which leads better into what he can do well, as opposed to a match like this where he needs to control the majority of the match, which he's not interesting enough to do. It's like everything about him would be better off if he was a babyface, and he spent his entire career as a heel.
Yeah, just a guy who like got miscast at every opportunity, really.
Yeah, and then just left the business before he could right the ship. It is a shame because we're entering the Monty endgame now. We only have about 4 months left of Monty, which is a shame.
Oh, remember when for Monty's gonna be crazy.
Oh, it's gonna make me sad.
I actually have to research.